This is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are still in Ireland, but we are visiting the Blarney Woolen Mills today. It's not part of the Blarney Gardens and Castle area. This is nearby though, still in the town of Blarney, and it's the largest woolen mill in Ireland. And we had a delightful time there. So this actually is going to be two two-page spreads. So 4 pages, two two-page spreads, and because they have similar borders, and so I just decided to do both of them at the same time. And I hope that it's something that will inspire you. These are actually pretty simple, simple borders that we're going to use for this, but fun stories, fun pictures as always. So I hope you enjoy it. Let's check out my workspace and we'll get started. All right, so this is my workspace for today, and you'll recognize this is the right hand side of the last layout that we put together of the witch's kitchen. And so we're continuing Ireland today, but I have done a couple of layouts in the meantime that I just want to share with you on our way to this next one. So this is, and I'll scoot this over just a second here so it's more in frame. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is a visit to the Druid's Cave and the Seven Sisters. There are quite a few, well, there's 4 specifically, peekaboo pockets involved on this page, and I haven't actually added any embellishments, but I will probably right up here in this area and right down here in this area, and then up here where the journaling is going to go. But I just wanted to show this to you. This one is and let me double check it, but I believe it's number 2. Yeah, it's project recipe number 2 in the 52 project recipes book that we got at the CM birthday last year. And this was fun to put together and really not too complicated, but I did add these borders on this side, and I doubled them so that there was a shadow of the paper that's on the back, just to make them stand out a little bit more off of the plaid that's in the background on this. But the Druid's Cave, just so that you have a reference for this, it says, and I'm sorry I have to raise it up to my face because my glasses are not magnifying super well. It's said to once be the home of a religious hermit who was fed and cared for by the Jeffries family. It may well have sheltered many others through the centuries. So this is just a fun place to explore on the Blarney Castle grounds, and you can see it's actually quite clean inside as far as debris and things like that, but actually fairly low. My daughter and my sister are not super tall, and they were having to stoop over. So just to kind of keep that in mind, this is my cousin Kelly. She's a little bit taller than they were, and she was definitely having to kind of stoop over. Oops, I need to fix that peekaboo pocket. It's upside down. All right. Then we had the Seven Sisters, which if you're not familiar with the Seven Sisters is a legend. And it's a legend about one of the kings of Munster who used to rule in the area of Blarney Castle. And the legend goes he had 7 daughters and 2 sons, and his rival was also a powerful clan chief. And the time came when the king had to defend his lands. One fateful day, an army rode out to battle with the king and his 2 sons at the head of it. Although victorious, it came at a great cost, as both sons were killed in the fighting. The army marched back to the castle en route, passing the ancient Druid stone circle that had stood for millennia. The king dispatched a contingent of men to the sacred site, and in his grief he instructed them to push over 2 of the 9 standing stones. This would forever commemorate his 2 fallen sons. The 7 sisters remain standing to this day. So you can see 2 of the stones are pushed over, and then the 7 sisters remain. So kind of a cool story, cool legend for that area. And then this is Michael and Haley just walking down one of the neat paths in that area. Sorry. And this was a funny tree that Haley decided to make some duck faces about. So why that made it into the book. This page is a page that I created on my own. It's nothing super special. These borders I did for National Scrapbook Day when we had the mushrooms, remember? And so this was a make and take that I did for my people on that particular event. And I was so pleased that I finally put it to use and put it into an album. Super fun. I will write some directional information on this cute signpost that we added over here. But basically these pictures are of the very end of our tour of Blarney Castle and Gardens. While my daughter my 2 daughters and my son and my sister and cousin went and visited the 7 sisters, we brought Emily because she was in her wheelchair still at the time, and my mom and one of my daughters and Nimrod back to the gift shop cafe little area so that we could just sort of relax, because it had been a journey. And this is one of the first days after she had injured her ankle, so we were still kind of getting used to how to help her get around. These were some posters, some old posters that they had up in the little cafe there, and just kind of cool. And this was the menu, just to remember what was offered. Some pizzas, even gluten-free pizza, and they had some quiche and sausage rolls, chicken wings, that kind of thing. We mainly stuck to hot chocolate because it was a bit chilly outside. All right, so the photos that we're going to work on today are going to focus on the woolen mill, and the woolen mill is directly across the street from the entrance to Blarney Castle, and it is just a quick walk. It's not far from the entrance. And so what I thought we would do today, I have photos, enough memorabilia and photos that we're going to do 2 two-page layouts for the woolen mills. And so I'm going to make matching borders so that both layouts will obviously be of the same place. I don't do that often, but sometimes it's just, I find it easy and fun, and it's just a fun thing to do. So I have these 2 pieces of paper out here. I have a piece of bright white cardstock, and this is a piece of paper from Lime Tart, and I think it's Lime Tart. Oh, no, this isn't Lime Tart. This is Totally Tonal Kelly Green. Okay, so Totally Tonal Kelly Green and bright white, and I have some scraps of the dark green that we have in our line, and so that's going to be used as an accent for me. And we are going to cut, I'm going to grab my 12-inch trimmer. I'm going to use the gingham, is this a gingham, a checkerboard? Probably more like a checkerboard paper, and we're going to cut a 2-inch strip. We're going to cut 2 2-inch strips. Actually, we're gonna need 4 2-inch strips, so I take that back, sorry. We're gonna need 4 of these. All right. Then we're gonna stack these up together. Cutting 4 pieces is a little bit of a challenge because sometimes your paper can slip. So if it makes you nervous to cut 4 pieces at once, then do them 1 at a time, or do them 2 at a time, or whatever makes you happy. But we're making squares, so this is not going to be too taxing. So 2-inch squares, 4, and I'm keeping them in piles of 4 for a reason. So just so that I don't have to count them out again. Do 1 more cut at 2 inches, and we're going to put 1 of these on each stack so that we have 5 in each stack. Okay, and then these are just extra, so just sort of set those off to the side. Okay, then we're going to take this piece of white, and we are going to cut 4 3-inch pieces. 4 3 by 12-inch pieces. Now, we actually, now that I'm thinking about what I'm doing a little bit better, I actually need 2 of these. Oh, I didn't realize that was a cover sheet. That's okay, we can still use it. Okay, we need 2 of these for the border, and then I'm going to take this remaining piece and I'm going to cut a couple of different size pieces from it. So we're going to cut 4 1/2-inch pieces, and I know I said I was only going to cut 4, but I need 8. Okay, so those pieces are going to come sit over here. And then I also need, it'd be awfully great if I could get 8 1/4-inch pieces out of this. And if I cut them carefully, I should be able to, because there's more than 2 inches, slightly more than 2 inches on this piece. So let's go for it. We're going to try to cut 8 1/4-inch pieces. To these. All right, I may need to cut another one because that one, I'm just going to cut 2 more. Hang on a second. Hard when the trimmer doesn't have adequate paper to hold on to. It's hard for it to keep the paper stabilized. So I'm going to use my old trick and adhere it down so it doesn't shift on me. All right, perfect. Okay, and then the green we are going to use to, we're going to use this punch. Is that a blast from the past or what? This is the Leaf Trio punch, and if you've been around CM for a number of years, then you'll recognize this. If you don't have one of these, then look for something that you can punch a small leaf or a small shape from. I just want this particular leaf right here. That's the one I want to punch, and I'm going to need quite a few of them. And of course that one just disappeared into the carpet that I'm on. So we'll try that again, shall we? There we go. That one right there. Right there. That makes it easier. So I'm going to punch just a ton of these. And actually, maybe what I'll do is I will punch both of these smaller ones and we can vary them. That makes more sense to me. Otherwise, I'm just going to be wasting a bunch of paper, which never makes me feel very good. I don't like to waste paper. So testing my dexterity. Those of you who've been watching my channel for a while will know that I had both hands. I had carpal tunnel surgery last year, carpal and cubital tunnel, and so sometimes I still find that I am testing the limits of what my hands can do. It's always good to exercise them, right? But sometimes I'm not able to grip things, or I'm not able to squeeze. So it's actually really good that I'm so far been able to do this. Okay, I think that's probably enough. If it's not, we can always come back and do some more. All right. So we're going to take each one of these and we're going to use our repositionable adhesive. Why, you may ask? Well, we're using repositionable adhesive because we may have to adjust some things. So rather than stress out about having to pick up and try to move permanent adhesive, this just makes all kinds of sense. Okay, so we're going to, first of all, I'm going to place my border, my 3" by 12" piece, on my grid on my table, and that's going to allow me to find the center really easy. There's the center, and I'm going to place this first square right in the middle, and I'm going to do my best to center it. Okay, if you're worried about keeping it center, get your zero centering ruler out, stick it on there, and then that's going to enable you to place the rest of these much easier. Okay, we're going to give it a 1/2 inch border on the outside. So we're going to place our 2 outer squares 1/2 inch from the end. And then these 2 get centered in between, sandwiched if you will. And by having a zero centering ruler right there, it allows us to be able to not have to eyeball, which my husband will appreciate. I mean, not eyeballing where it goes. And it allows us to have everything just right and level, right? So we're going to do that 3 more times. No, we're just going to do it 1 more time. I don't know what I'm thinking about. Never mind. We didn't need quite so many of these. Whew. Okay, so 3. You'll need 3 2x2, 3 2x12 strips, because you only need 10 squares. I don't know why I was thinking we were going to need more than that. That's okay. Oh, we do need more than that. Don't Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. I need 2 more of these. My bad. Okay. I'm getting it. I'm getting with the program, as they say. Now you may be asking yourself, like I'm asking myself, how in the world did I get that one crooked? But it's just crooked enough that that's going to bug me. So I'm fixing it. All right. Must have snuck underneath my ruler or something. Okay, so now we've got those. Now I'm going to take these, and you're going to think this is absolutely crazy, but this is what's going on in my head. So this is what I'm going to try. We're going to see how it works. I'm going to just take one of my 1/4 inch strips, one of my 1/2 inch strips, and I'm going to put the 1/4 inch strip down the middle of the 1/2 inch strip. Now you may be saying, why in the world would you do that? They're the same color. They are, but it gives just a little bit of a shadow, and that's all I want. I just want a little bit of a shadow. You'll see why. There's a method. There's a method to the madness. So we're going to do this to all of these, all 8 of these 1/2 inch strips and 1/4 inch strips. All right, almost done assembling, and then we can put the layouts together. Remember, we're doing 2 today. Okay, so I'm just going to put these like so, and now we're going to take our leaves that we carefully punched, and we're just going to place them directly in the middle of the windows of the squares. And I'm just sort of turning them different directions to make it more fun. Alright, so there we go. Now we can go ahead and assemble our pages. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is grab 2 of these strips. I'm going to grab my repositionable adhesive. We're going to run some adhesive down both of these. And I'm going to line this up roughly. And we're going to place this centered over about the 4-inch mark. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this doesn't have to be super accurate, but I think it will add a lot to the layout if it's fairly accurate. How's that? Fair enough? All right. So we're going to do every 4 inches like that. Then we're going to come in here with, where's my big tape runner? Here it is. All right. This is going to go right across the top. I'm going to start from the center so that if I have leeway, it's on the outside of the layout. It'll be less noticeable that way. So flush to the top of the page and all the way to the jeeping in the center. And we're going to press that down. Now, this may look a little funky to you, and you may be like, what is she doing? Hang in there with me, okay? Hold on. Trust me for a couple more minutes. All will be revealed. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on the facing page. Repositionable. If you heard that commotion just a second ago, that was Maggie tearing downstairs for some reason. Not sure what's going on there. Oh, I think Michael's home. Might be why. She gets really excited when people come home, but usually she's waiting by the door, so I'm not sure exactly what's happening. Okay. This one's going to be the same, done the same way. Careful when you run your hands across that you don't catch the stems. All right, now we are going to place those two there. This one's going to go up here. And I have a couple things that fell on the floor. So these came off of one of the sweaters that we bought, which is kind of cool. It says, here's how you can care for me. And on the other side says, please don't put me in the washing machine. Hand washing's best. Squeeze the suds gently, etc., etc. So I thought, well, that is going in the scrapbook because it's just too cool for school, right? Plus, if I ever forget how to wash my sweater, I'll know right where to go to get the information. Okay, so those are going to go here. So we could mat these, and it might be a good idea, but I just wanted to, before I adhere these down, if you can see, let me refocus this a little bit. Can you see the trim on these windows? And see how we've done the layout. That's kind of what I was going for, was a little bit of a copycat for what was happening in the windows of the woolen mills and the hotel that's attached. So this one I think this part is the hotel actually. Just a really cool thing there. And I think it would be cool to go ahead and matte some of these. I don't think we need to matte every picture, but let me grab some. You'd think I would know where the avocado cardstock is by now and be able to grab it first thing, but no. Okay. So I think I'm going to go ahead and matte this one and the one below it. Not huge mattes, but just enough to kind of define the edges of the photo. So we're just going to give it about 1/8 of an inch. And in order to see where my cutting zone is, I'm using this little arrow right here, that one right there, to be able to see where I'm going to cut so that I don't have to measure quite so much. I'm going to move that in just a smidge though. Okay. So that just sets it apart just enough. And then we can go ahead and just get these adhered to our page. Now you might be asking yourself, why did I go to the trouble of layering the strips that went down? I was just trying something different. But I think it does add quite a bit, especially if you have smaller photographs or smaller memorabilia, so you're going to be seeing more of the page. Because of the way that this, or the number of photos that I'm using on this, we don't have as much of the page that's going to be seen. So, so we're not going to see a lot of that, but we might see more on the pages behind the next layout. So it'll all work out in the wash, as my grandma used to say. Okay, so just gonna put those on. I do take a risk by doing this because I have no idea what kind of chemicals are in this paper and they're attached to these photos. So just keep that in mind if that's the way you decide you want to adhere some memorabilia in your book. If you don't know it's acid-free paper, you take a risk by doing that. All right, so this other page right here is going to have quite a few photos on it. And I do think I want to matte a couple of these as well, but probably only 3. Let's see, we'll matte well, not this one. This one is rather important. It tells the story of the woolen mill, the man who acquired it and why he bought it in the first place, and how he was a machinist. He actually started working at the mill as a young person. I think it said he was 14. Maybe not. 13. Started to work at the mill at the age of 13. No child labor laws at that time, apparently. He became an insurance salesman, but he was really good at his hands, and so with his hands, so he enjoyed working with the machinery. And it was because of his being so adept at working with machinery and keeping the factories working even through the war, that his mill became the biggest mill in the country. And still is, as far as I am aware. They definitely make some fantastic things. Really, really nice sweaters, of course, blankets, mittens. We came home with all kinds of stuff, as you can imagine. And I actually wore the mittens that we brought home. My daughter Haley had bought some. I bought some gloves a little later in the trip, but she bought those kind of mittens that have the fingers that are short, and then they have the piece that goes over the top of them, of your fingers. And she let me borrow them a couple months ago, actually, not just the other day, but a couple months ago. And they are, what's the phrase they use here in Utah? Hecka warm. They are amazingly warm. They kept my hands very comfortable, so I was quite pleased. We probably could I probably could have cropped this picture of Kelly just a little bit, but why? Because it's all right. It'll all work out in the wash. I'm gonna be saying that for a long time now. Okay, so we're just going to largest shop in the world. Maybe I'll just move that off the page just a little and come back in and trim it. That's, I think, what I will do. All right. So there's just sort of a hodgepodge, but and a very quick synopsis of the Blarney Woolen Mills and what it's all about. Here's the next page that goes along with it. And the next layout, which will go on the back of here, is going to have the same structure. So bear with me and I'll get that done. Okay, now let's take a look at, guys, you see go up there. Okay, let's take a look at the memorabilia and photos that need to go on here, because I don't have a pre-designed idea of how these are going to work. This is a roadmap of Ireland, probably the best one I've ever seen, and so that one is going in here, probably right there. This is a cool pamphlet all about Aran Island yarn and wool and all the items that are made with it. If you're not familiar with the Aran Island wool, that most of the wool in Ireland comes from the island of Aran. So it's a pretty cool place. This is where we had lunch, which may not seem like a big deal, but I'm here to tell you that my husband said that was the best lunch best food he'd ever had. And basically what we ordered was like a Thanksgiving meal. It was, and he said that it was amazing. So, kind of cool. And then, so I think, I don't know why that's not the right size. What is that? That's a 5 1/4. 4 by 5 1/4 inch photo. But we could do a peekaboo pocket here over this. The problem is that that photo is, I need to make my photos the same size because they are not, and that's gonna bug me. So we're gonna make this 5 1/4, and we're gonna make the other one 5 1/4. Oh, this is the tablecloth that currently resides on my dining room table with plastic over the top. I hear you shaking your head. That is Irish lace. That's the only piece of bit of Irish lace that I ended up coming home with, sadly, because I really wanted to get something. Fortunately, they had this tablecloth at the woolen mill, and I snapped it up and said, thank you very much. That's what I want right there. So I got that, and I got a really nice sweater that I wear a lot. Okay, so those are going to go down there. Maybe we'll mat that just to add some emphasis, and that will go on top. Okay, this one's going to need to be trimmed. This was the menu at the little cafe right next door to the mill. And you heard it from my husband, best food in all of Ireland. It really was good, and I don't know if that was because we'd been walking all day and we were super hungry, which is probably the bigger part of why that was. All right. Oh, I should have matted these before I put that away. Okay, so we're going to mat this photo here. And we're going to mat this photo here. The cafe there is a little bit like a cafeteria, but they do have made to order items. It wasn't just you have to have whatever's been sitting there for hours. So we opted for eating something that had been recently put together. But obviously it had been cooked, you know, before, because it was ham and turkey and mashed potatoes and stuffing. I mean, it was the works. And I'm telling you, they hit it out of the park. Out of the park. Yumminess. Maybe I should have matted that one also, but I think we're just going to go with that. Okay. These, if you haven't ever seen these before, this is a brochure pocket. This is not an ordinary peekaboo pocket. So if you want to use an ordinary peekaboo pocket, a 6 by 12 would probably be what you would put something like this in. But it fits just right in the 5 by 6 brochure pocket. And when you peel off the back of a brochure pocket, you just know it's a little bit more than a peekaboo. Peekaboos are awesome, and they definitely have their good points. I use them a lot. But when you have something a little heavier like this that you want to keep stabilized in your album, a brochure pocket is the way to go. I am going to trim this because it's a little bit wonky, and we don't need this kind of craziness over here. It's like somebody's, I want to say somebody's hair got in the way, but actually I think it was something like that with the lamb's wool, that just like a fleece, you know, that got in the way of the camera. So it just looked funny. Alright, so this, we're going to just sort of center it like so. Same thing with this, although we're going to overlap the two of those just a little, which will be okay. Alright, and I will get a peekaboo pocket out for those, but those will fit right over the top of that. And then coming over here, so I wanted to just point out a couple things to you. So I saved these tags off of a couple things. My husband really likes flat caps, so we got him at least one. I think he ended up with a couple different flat caps. And so I saved the tags just because I learned from my grandfather and my grandmother when they would travel. And my grandmother took meticulous notes about what they spent and how they spent it and why, and I just found it fascinating every time I come across one of her little journal entries that talks about how much something cost. So whenever possible, I try to do the same thing. And this has a little bit of a different history of the mill on it, so that's kind of fun. So my intention is this is tied, and I'm going to leave it tied, and I'm going to leave this loose on top. This was this says that it was a hoodie, but I think this was my sweater because it had a hood on it. That was my wonderfully warm Aran wool sweater. This is a very heavy duty tag, so these will stay stay really well. They're not going to tear or anything like that. Now this is a peekaboo pocket. I know it's an odd size and we don't see peekaboo pockets like this very often, but it is a peekaboo. And I'm going to leave it open so that this can be removed if it needs to be. That means I'm going to adhere down the back of it, and I'm going to take the cellophane strip off the top and adhere this directly to my page without folding it over. Okay, so that means I'm going to come back here. I'm going to add my adhesive directly to the peekaboo pocket. Come up here and take that adhesive off. It's wrinkly. There it comes. Okay. And then that way that's just going to stay and have a more smooth existence, as they say. Okay, so I'm going to adhere that down, push down on all the adhesive on the back. Good to go. This one. Actually, you know what? Rather than having this be right there on the top, I think I'm going to switch this up. We're going to put this on the bottom. And then these two will go up here on the top. We'll kind of tilt that just a little. And tilt that one just a little. And then, like I said, that one's just going to sort of float. And this will float as well. But I'm going to trim this little string. No need to have that. Okay, so that's just gonna be a floaty, as it were. Okay, so we could add embellishments to these pages, although I kind of feel like we have enough going on. If I was gonna add some, it would probably be maybe down here, maybe here, but probably not. So I think this works on its own without needing to worry about embellishments. And if I'm going to add journaling, that could be an issue because I don't have any journaling in here just now. But what I can do, and what I'll show you when we do the flip through later, is I can journal on a card and then slip the card behind one of the photos with a little tab, and then that can still be accessed. Usually when you do that, it's best to put it on an outside edge or inside edge, somewhere where you can reach under the page protector to pull it out, read it, and push it back. So just some ideas. Okay. All right, and I don't know, let's take a look at this one more time and make sure whether we want to add any embellishments to this one, but I think this one's probably standing on its own as well. I don't think I'm going to worry about embellishments here either. So I'll take a look at it in a couple hours and see if there's something that I want to add. If I'm going to add anything, I probably would add it right here, maybe right there, and maybe up here, maybe, I don't know. But for now, I think I'm just going to leave it. Thanks so much for joining me. I know this has been a long one, but we did 4 pages, 2 double-page spreads. Cool. Good job. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Enjoy your day.